Reconvene. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. We are in executive report. We've got a question from Councillor Rogan. Over to you.
So on the transition recovery report, middle of page 254, it talks about emergency expenditure. And it says operating costs for the immediate response 6.3, further capital cost 53 for proposed repair and resilient work. So what does that cover? Because that's not just roading.
They're awfully precise, aren't they? They shouldn't be that precise. They should be done. I think, so I'm going to say I think, because this was produced by the 3, I believe, is, and this ties to a spreadsheet that we also submitted to DIA asking for money. So I think that is the 3 waters damage plus a whole bunch of investment around building that better in terms of more resilient infrastructure. So at the last minute, we realised that our spreadsheet that we go into DIA asking for money needed to be consistent with the report that we were putting into the 2 were going to intersect and
Okay.
so I believe that's the case.
Yeah, so I think it includes the cost that they talked about. It also includes, we paid about 1.5 million on cost for the initial response during the actual in order to kind of tidy up the clear and the immediate stuff that was there. So there's a range of those costs. And there's some coastal parks and reserves costs, making removing unsafe beach access ways, things like that, all those kind of works. As opposed to the capital works, which is predominantly for the work.
Can I ask you, Chair, to brief, does that include erosional work on the beach?
Yeah, so through the chair, there's a little bit around that. So it'll be around like a few stand push-ups.
Is it included in that?
It is, yeah, but not as far as like rushing out.
No.
The repair works that we're anticipating are in that 53.2, which includes road and it's about 1.5, I think.
Or coastal.
1.5 coastal repairs. But that's sitting at the second number, but as I said, it shouldn't have decimal form because there's no way with that.
Thank you.
Kind says that it costs both the OPEX and CAPEX of a lot of them rise significantly.
I'm not sure they're going to rise. So actually, I should actually explain the consciousness report is that when you finish an event, you're supposed to do a sort of a closure event report feed through to CDEM. But in this case, we realise this is likely to be the document that then gets handed over to the Cyclone Recovery Unit as the starting point for the TCDC story. So we put a little bit more time and resource and got some support to write it. And we've written it in a way that I guess starts the conversation about funding. The other important thing that we wanted to show was that we're not really out of the event. We're sort of at any minute, any one of these, particularly on page 257, those red dots are all potential land instability events where we could see further slips. So we really think that that message across to Wellington that the next 12 months is really important for us.
Yeah, it's quite compelling visual, isn't it?
It's like measles.
Yeah.
It's been referred to many times as the measles report.
Holy moly.
It's terrible. I just feel like we need to have a minute's silence. It's just crikey.
One of the challenges that I find with dealing with this over the last 3 months is that you come under a lot of pressure to take responsibility for fixing all of this stuff. Your council is fixing all the management, and I think we owe it all to ourselves to try and keep that into some level of context, because the challenges that we're facing here are a combination of a whole heap of stuff, and a whole bunch of it is outside of our control, has been in the past. Some of it is stuff that maybe the council could have done better in the past. We owe it to ourselves to be to keep this in context, and we will come under a lot of pressure to wave a magic wand, fix all of this stuff, and you get to the point where you just have to accept what is and what can be and what can't be. We're doing everything we can, we're doing our best, and we're working very hard with the other agencies, regional, national. And I'm confident that the future is going to look better than what it does now, because there's a realisation of what needs to be done. There's also a realisation of the limitations in terms of funding. But there is a realisation now that we've got to be building back more resilient, better than what we have done in the past. That discussion is happening at a national and regional level, as well as around the town.
Yeah, I've got a question to the chair on the developer contributions page. And the executive summary. It does say here it's difficult predicting the timing of consents completion. Can I ask where that works currently? Where's the development coming through for Sutlife subdivision? Is that just a video?
Through the chair, we're getting quite a bit through Matarani at the moment.
Matarani, is it? Yeah. Have there been some difficulties with the consents, is it?
Through the chair, that comment just means that with development contributions, it's often hard to estimate when they're actually going to come through due to consents being issued. When developers actually apply, etc. So just a development
Timing.
Yeah, but really hard to say.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything further on the chief executive report? Okay. Could I get a mover and second, please, to receive the report? Councillor Rodley, Councillor Cole, all those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Aileen, for that. Much appreciated. Okay. Waikato, item 4.3. Waikato Civil Defence Emergency Management Joint Committee appointment of local controller. Could I get a mover and a second to receive that?
I'll second it.
John Brecker, thank you. The motion is to endorse and recommend to the Waikato CDEM Joint Committee of Brian Carter, be appointed as local controller.
Through the chair, can I just jump on there? I have a few comments. My name is. I think that's my error. I don't intend on. The eyes of the room.
It was noticed and eyebrows were raised. Thank you.
No, I don't like.
Have we met, Brian?
Brian Carter?
Yeah, I just speak, I've met Brian on a number of occasions, and I know I've spoken to him recently. He's very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
He's been a great assistance to Gary, and I was really pleased to see his name on this report. I can't think of a person who's getting qualified to do this.
I will second that. Great job. Okay, so this is an endorsement of what has, in my understanding, already been, Councillor Grant, perhaps you could just speak to that. That has already been decided by the CDEM joint.
It means the last meeting of the CDEM governance group was approved.
So we just have to ratify that as a council.
This is endorsing that.
Okay, all those in favour?
Aye.
So we now have two controllers.
We have two, but we have more than two who actively work in that space. Three full-time emergency management staff.
Yep, so a controller is a specific job. So Gary is our controller, Brian will be our alternate controller, which allows you to get shifts.
Yeah.
When we need additional controllers, we actually can get them from the group. So during the event, we had a controller come into the group. It's interesting. And if the event goes on and on and on, you can just bring in anyone who's been signed off by your committee as a controller. But it doesn't just happen, we have to actually just show training and capability and be seen to work on the job and so on.
Fantastic.
So TCDC is the only district council in Waikato region to have an emergency management unit within the business with 3 full-time staff.
Yeah, the staff, so the 30 staff members
Not
non-control.
control.
Okay.
So yes, we have 2.
Yeah, no, lovely, because it was quite robust about the appointment procedure and his background. I was just thinking, did I miss something while I was away that Gary was leaving? But no, I'm happy now.
So remember last time we had to, Julian Snowball came in to cover because Gary was away for a few days. So my understanding is this would allow us to have our own control rather than.
Yeah,
Julian or somebody else.
beauty, thank you.
And Brian did actually operate during the events as the manager under Gary's authority as controller, but now it's more Brian on the authority in his own right.
And as Gary pointed out, he won't be around forever, so
Yeah.
Brian is someone that can do that role.
Can I just clarify that in page 271 that has been remembered to take out Taylor's name? Okay, so
I think it should remain.
Brian Taylor doesn't have enough to say.
so that's been passed. We're now going to, can I get a mover and a
Yep.
seconder, please, to those topics excluded?
I'll move second.
Okay, thank you. Those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Just a moment.